So a few weeks ago, I was thinking, man, this pandemic has created a lot of opportunities because the stock market has dropped in a big dip. So I decided it was in my best interest to take my few $1,000s and jump in. I found it was a very safe time because as stocks start to bottom out, over the next few years, they're only going to go up. So I thought to myself, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to take my $2,000 that I have, put it into the stock market and see how I can grow it. I have a lot of time on my hands right now because everybody's stuck at home, and so am I. So I just wanted to show my experience of my first week trading without any experience. So this is what I learned, this is what I messed up on, and this is how I grew my money. So the first thing I did was I started looking at different trading apps. I looked at Robinhood, I looked at Stash, I looked at Webull, I looked at Fidelity, I looked at all kinds of different apps, all kinds of different organizations that offer trading platforms. So I found for me that the best thing was to go with Webull. So the reason I picked Webull is because I liked how the platform worked. It made sense to me, it was easy for me. So as soon as I installed the app and put the $2,000 into my account on Webull, I started looking at stocks. I started looking at two different kinds of stocks. I started to look at stocks that were pandemic independent. These stocks are the stocks that like tech, like Walmart, like biotech, that actually during this pandemic are doing well. They're still being bullish. Walmart and other stores are essential stores, so they have to stay open, so they're still doing well. And things like Amazon staying open because they're essential are doing really well. So I also looked at stocks that I thought were good deals. These stocks, these industries have been hit really hard by the virus. They tanked a lot, and I feel like now is a great time to jump into them. So these industries are airlines, resorts, car manufacturers, and other industries that I thought got hit really hard. So these industries bottomed out, and they have a low risk to reward ratio, which means they'll most likely go up more than they'll go down. So jumping into it, starting off day one, Tesla really caught my eye. So I knew a lot about Tesla. I've been watching videos on it. It's a very trending company. And I saw that China was reopening and Tesla has a big plant in China. So I noticed that the stock was going up a few days before I jumped into it, and I thought it was a good opportunity to jump in. So I jumped in, I bought 3-4 shares around $500, and I ended up making, $50 that day. On day one, I also bought some airlines. I bought American Airlines, I bought Delta, because I thought they were good buys. I thought they were a good deal, but it turned out to be not the case later down the road. So day two comes around, and I started doing a little bit more research, and I got connected with this YouTube channel that has, a chat group, and this YouTuber, this influencer that just talks about the stocks that he's doing. So I jumped into that, and this is where I made my first mistake. So I jumped into Tesla again the second day, and I made, a good amount of money, maybe 50 to 100, because Tesla kept jumping up and up and up. So one person in that chat said Tesla was done for the day, that it was starting to flatten out and it was done. So I'm thinking, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe this guy's right. I kind of agree with it. And so I listened to him, and I pulled out all my Tesla shares that day. It ended up being a big mistake because not only did Tesla keep going up the rest of the week, but it went up the rest of that day too. It stagnated a little bit, but then jumped up again. So what I learned from that is to not listen to other people's opinions, especially random guys on the internet. So I ended up leaving one Tesla stock in there long term. Maybe I'll pull it out in a few weeks, just as I thought. So that Tesla stock that I left in there long term, I ended up taking it out a few days later. It gave me around $130 return. So also later that day, I bought AMD, totally went even, did not make any money, did not lose any money, just up and down, and sold it. And day two is when I realized that my airline stocks weren't doing very well. They kept going down and down and down. So I decided to pull those out and put my money elsewhere. So day three was a big day. I made a big bet on Zoom. I bought a few shares of Zoom. I saw that it was reaching a previous peak. I thought it was gonna reach the previous peak, then go down again. And I turned out to be right, so I made about $20 over the next day on Zoom. I also started to trade Papa John's because I thought that, hey, a lot of people are stuck in their houses, they're gonna want more pizza delivered to their house. So I saw that their stock was going up a lot. I jumped in. However, I did not make any money that day on it. It was pretty flat, so that turned out to be a waste of time. Another thing happened day three that was pretty big. I hit the PDT rule, which means that for accounts under $25,000, you can't trade more than 4 day trades a week. And for me, that was a big deal. I was very angry. I was very disappointed that I couldn't day trade. Without the extra $25,000, it was very annoying to me. And also it was very annoying because I was trying to make a play on Tesla again that morning. So what I learned is I could leverage my money. So I leveraged around $4,000. I bought an extra 5 shares of Tesla that I couldn't really afford. and I wanted to buy them, but I kept getting this notification that I cannot day trade. And so I didn't know what that meant at that point in time, so I decided not to buy those shares. And I did the math, and if I would have bought those shares, I would have made like $600 that day. I later figured out, a few hours later what that means, what the PDT rule is. But it was very frustrating that day because I was very scared. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't want my account to get shut down. So anyways, day 4 comes around and I'm up like $300. I'm like, man, this is pretty good. This is pretty easy. And this is where I made my first big mistake. So day 4 came around, and at the end of day 3, Boeing announced that it was reopening their plants in the next week or two. And so what I did was, I was like, man, this is a big play. This is going to be big. Boeing's going to go up. It previously went down. It's going to go up. So I leveraged about $8,000 at this point. Basically all my money, I leveraged it as much as I could. And I put it in Boeing the night before. So I woke up in the morning and my stock was doing well. It was up, about $60. It wasn't up much, but it was good. And I thought to myself, man, it's going to keep going up as Boeing starts to, come back into it and start ramping up their production again. However, I was very wrong. And not only was I wrong, but I didn't pay attention to my stock. That evening, I stayed up late. I didn't want to wake up early in the morning, so I decided, it'll be fine. So I made a YOLO trade, one, which is not a good idea. And secondly, I didn't watch it. So I woke up late the next morning and I was down around $400. And I was like, damn. So I was up $300. I made a big mistake. And now I'm down $400. So now I'm down $100 overall. So overall, in the first week of trading, my first week out of no experience, I lost around $100. And I did it from very dumb mistakes. Mistakes I'm sure every trader when they first start out make. But for me, it was worth the learning experience. For $100, I learned very good skills that I think I will use for the rest of my life. These skills I can use at any point in my life. If I have some extra money, I can throw it into a stock account. I can help the money grow. I can help make plays on it. I can manage it myself instead of letting somebody else manage it. So if you're thinking about getting into the stock market, I think now is a great time, a great opportunity to get in, to learn. If you still mess up, you can always come back from it. So a lot of the stocks that, I was down on over the next few weeks started to come back up anyways. So I ended up making around $50 back of the $100 that I lost. So at this point, I'm only down $50, which for me, I think is pretty good. Overall, I had a fun time trading and day trading. It really kept me busy during this pandemic period when I'm stuck in my house, when I have nothing to do, and I found it to be very fun, very exciting, and a great learning experience. If you guys ever made the same mistakes I did at any point, please let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thank you for watching the video. This was a fun video to make. This was a fun experience, and I hope you guys can learn from my mistakes and take them to heart while you're trading. Otherwise, like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.